Every month I meet online with a bunch of kids, pretty much all ages, from just learning to write all the way up through high school, and we do something called Poetry Tea Time. Poetry Tea Time is a time when we all get together. We have a theme. Usually it's about a poet, or it could be about maybe a holiday, or last year we did world literature, so we went around the world, and they pull out their favorite poem, they read it to the rest of the class, and then we learn about some kind of fun type of poetry, and then they write poetry. It's pretty simple, but we're eating snacks while we're doing it, so it actually makes it pretty enchanting as well. Now, the first time that these kids come to class, they're a little hesitant, maybe a little nervous. The younger kids, not so much, but the older kids, they're a little nervous about sharing. And I get that, because sharing something that you've written is sometimes very, well, scary. Because when we write something, it comes from inside us. A little bit of our soul is being shared. So it's hard sometimes to share a little bit of that with other people. But I've been doing this for quite a while with a lot of the same kids. New kids come every year, but we've had kids for years doing this with us. And it's very interesting that these kids that didn't want to write in the beginning now love to write, and always write to share their poetry with other people. They find it fun, exciting. Now, I'm doing the Homeschool TikTok conference for high school right now. So you may be wondering, why are you talking about Poetry Tea Time? Why is poetry a big deal with high school? Well, it is, because a lot of times parents think that, well, poetry isn't that important. You know, there's so many things that we've got to get covered, and we have to have these credits and these requirements to graduate. And poetry is one of those things that kind of gets slid to the side. It maybe gets bumped because something else needs to be done. We need to cover a little more grammar. We need to do a little more essays. We need to get in that algebra or that pre-calculus or whatever. And all those boxes are supposed to be getting checked. And so poetry just kind of gets pushed to the side because they don't believe it's an academic thing that they need to get done. But poetry is more than just fun. Poetry builds real writing skills. It builds real emotional intelligence and real critical thinking. It teaches our teens to say things in fewer words, but also mean more. And that's not a small skill. That's an important skill. That's some of the best writing training that there is, actually. Now, poetry doesn't have to eat up your entire day. Sometimes you can do poetry in just 5 minutes a day. One poem, one idea, maybe study a literary element. That's basically what we do in our Poem a Day course. 5 minutes a day, every day, and get your poetry in for the semester. Other times, we study poetry every day as our literature. That's our Poetry in a Movie course, where we take classic poets and classic poetry and we combine them with great movies. That brings in the fun of reading with also the fun of watching a movie. And your teen's going to love that because we're pairing those two things together. And Poetry Movie is a year-long course, or a semester-long course, however you want to do it. But it takes the place of one of your literature courses for the school year. Or you can do what we do every month, and that's Poetry Tea Time, where we do meet and have a lot of fun learning about poetry from around the world, or this year, from banned poets. However you want to bring in poetry, don't skip it. Make sure and add that to your teen's curriculum. It's one of the most overlooked subjects in high school. I'm Deshelle with Literary Adventures for Kids, and you can join me every month for Poetry Tea Time, or you can join me in our membership for book clubs every month as well. You can learn more in our bio.